he was innocent. He was factually innocent. And he was never the shooter. He was never the person that did the killing. And I can't remember actually whether it was a shooting or some other weapon, but he was not the person who actually did the killing. It was someone else who testified against him and said, Glossop's the one that paid me to do it. Of course, for his testimony, he escaped the death chamber. He got life without. So the actual guy who did the killing, he's not going to die for it, but he testifies against Glossop. Glossop's in the middle of his appeals. He's at the very, very end. He's maintained his innocence from the beginning. He's at the very end, so he's litigating the lethal injection, which is how am I going to be executed? Not whether, but how. That's where the case came across my desk, where I see it. Goes up to the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court says, nah, go right ahead. So he goes back down. He loses in front of the Supreme Court, his lethal injection challenge. Goes back down to Oklahoma. And it turns out, the news breaks, that Oklahoma injected the guy before him with the wrong drug. And then talked about covering it up. So that story breaks. Oklahoma's executions go on hold. And in the meantime, it is discovered that there was massive prosecutorial misconduct, willful prosecutorial misconduct, suggesting there was evidence in the prosecutor's file that the prosecutor knew about, that he was lying on the stand. Didn't disclose it, hid it. So this is like, now you're up to date in the last couple months. So the Attorney General of Oklahoma confesses constitutional error, says, this guy needs a new trial at the very least. The whole case rested on this guy. We now know that guy had, a bunch of problems and was lying, whatever. But we're confessing constitutional error. And the Oklahoma courts say, too bad, so sad, procedurally defaulted. You should have figured this out earlier. Somehow. He goes back up to the United States Supreme Court, and just in the last month or so, the Supreme Court ruled, again, Oklahoma's Attorney General is saying, we're with Glossop. And the court says, you can't execute this guy. He gets a new trial. But even then, it was only a 5-4 decision.